Hey, Legal Show family. Hi. I was sitting over there like terrified. It's like, oh my God, our world is changing so quickly. No one else was scared? Was it just me? I guess I'm showing my age. I'm not quite sure, but I was a little scared. I was like, what are we going to be in the next 5 years? Like the Jetsons? What are we, like, seriously. Oh my goodness. Do I need to stand still? We're good? All right. So I have the opportunity to share with you some information on Ladies of Justice, but I also want to talk to you about the philosophy behind what we've done. But for those of you that I haven't had the privilege to personally get to know here in the room, my name is Melisa. I have been with the company 20 years this year. Cannot believe. We were just talking about how quick the time has went by. It's just amazing. I mean, when I started this business, my kids were in elementary and middle school, and today I have 9 grandchildren. Yeah, they got busy, quick. Oh my goodness. But I've had the privilege, I should say, to do many things in this company, and all of you will be able to experience that as well as you continue to, grow with the company. Whether it was in the field as what we used to call GVPs, RVPs, working as a solutions trainer, working in the corporate staff as a SVP of sales. One of the things that I think has got me the most excited, though, is the initiative that I'm running today, and it's Ladies of Justice. And the reason why I'm so excited about it is not specifically just because I'm catering to women, but it's because I've been able to take all the things that I've learned throughout the years with the company and implement them into a process that's very simple and very natural for us to do this business. And so teachings that I've been able to do for years, I was able to kind of dump this into this process, okay? And I'll talk to you about that. I only have 30 minutes, so I am gonna cover some of this stuff pretty quickly because I wanna get behind some of the philosophy as well. We didn't have a chance to cover that yesterday, okay? All right, so Ladies of Justice, our mission is to improve lives with our services. Our goal within this mission, though, is also to provide the environment and opportunity for women to build their belief and confidence, to be able to step into their greatness and power, to give them the ability to create choices in life and also live a purposeful life. And as I mentioned yesterday, this is not just an internal mission statement. This is an external mission statement that we're using to build a sisterhood in our communities throughout the country. And it's working extremely well. We're seeing a lot of positive things come through what we've done in a very short period of time. And by the way, Florida, you're the #1 producing LOJ state. Okay? We are. And one of our goals when we were looking at designing this, we had many, but one of the goals was by the end of the year, in just 3 short months, we wanted to have about 350 women join our mission. And I'm very excited to say that at the end of December, we had 755 women that had joined our mission and started to participate in the program. And in January, this last month, we even had a more epic month. We had over 1,000, actually 1,024 women working within the Ladies of Justice mission. And what I want to share with you is so impactful is the fact that, I pride myself on knowing the field. Many of the leaders were the same way. We get to know the field, who they are, what they do, what they contribute. And as I'm looking through the list of ladies that are hosting events, I'm looking through the list of ladies that are producing on their own in this business, I started to see a trend of ladies that I've knew for years that never stood up front of the room and presented. She had all the abilities, all the qualities, all the leadership, but just maybe the confidence wasn't there yet. Or maybe the environment just didn't make her feel natural yet enough, comfortable enough in her own skin, if you will, to get up there. And when I see and when I hear about women that actually are finally going ahead and stepping into their greatness and power, I can't tell you how much it just gives me goosebumps. It's just amazing how that makes me feel. As a matter of fact, I had a lady that's been in this business over 20 years just the other day send me a text after one of our calls, and she said to me, Melisa, she says, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to host my first event. Was she terrified? Yes, she was absolutely terrified, but she did it, her and another associate, and they had 4 guests in the room. Now, I don't know about you, But I know that at least when my travels, when I go around the country and I look at briefings, sometimes we don't have 4 guests in the room at a briefing, and yet we've got 20 associates. So when 2 associates can get in a room and have 4 guests, to me, that's pretty powerful. And the other thing I want to share with you is that on the average of what the associates are sending into us on their event sign-in sheets with the number of associates and guests, the average number of guests per associate is averaging 5.02 guests per event. Okay? Now, these are our core values: to discover your worth, take ownership, build an inclusive, diverse community, elevate women as we climb, build or create a wealth and legacy, own your seat at the table, and also integrate family. These are 7 core values that as our committee we put together. As a matter of fact, our logo has 7 rays, and each one of the rays represents one of our 7 core values. I know our brand kind of looks like Laverne and Shirley. I got it. I've heard that from a few people, like the L looks like, okay, some of you don't even know who Laverne and Shirley is, right? I'm really dating myself now. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump through these slides real quick just for informational purposes. If none of you have had the opportunity yet to go to ladiesofjustice.com, please go to ladiesofjustice.com. It's an informational site where we help enlighten, engage, and empower women. It's all content geared around in doing those 3 things with women. There's also an opportunity video there for you to actually have women review. I'd send your women prospects and guests to that site. I think it's very important for you to see that, for them to see that. And no one can enroll on that site, so don't worry about that, okay? How many of you have not been to that site yet? Wow, quite a few of you. So please make sure you go. Also, all of you have a username.ladiesofjustice.com marketing site. So as you're doing Ladies of Justice, as you're using our process and system, make sure obviously that you enroll your members through this system. And men, you have this system too. You have your marketing sites as well. Why? Because we actually have men that are inviting women to our events. We're taking care of their ladies, and when they get done, they're enrolling their ladies through their marketing sites as well for Ladies of Justice, because we want them to have the same feel and flow that all the other women that are coming that are invited by women also have for the women that are invited by men. Does that make sense? So make sure you're using that site. Go past that. Now, also, all of our tools. Did you see our beautiful display back there? And Miss Rita did a great job of setting that up. All of our tools, and I want you to understand something completely. And if you were here yesterday, I walked through some of this. Everything that we've built is from start to finish for you. You can actually print off just a few things, and basically it's your business in a box. It has our hostess guidelines there for you, so you can read exactly how to do the luncheon or the social. It has your, what we call your agenda, which is actually your agenda for the event plus your marketing sheet. We have your sign-in sheets. We have your social cards. Everything that we designed for you is there in very easy steps. So if you've not been there, please make sure you go to LS Engage, go to your resources, and go to Ladies of Justice folder. Make sure you look at all of our great content. One of the things I do want to mention that is very new is we have something called our Child Protection Card. And I didn't talk about this yesterday, and I didn't have it as a visual aid, but our Child Protection Card is something pretty cool. See, part of our mission is community-based, getting out there really and sharing with our community who we are and what we do, and building that sisterhood of an environment for us to really build belief and confidence. But one of the things also is to give back to our community. How many of you actually know somebody that's in a PTA? Yeah? How many of you know somebody that's actually, I don't know, maybe you are, part of a soccer team, your kids, part of a soccer team, things of that nature? Well, we actually have these child protection cards. They actually have the logo of Ladies of Justice, but it's a community-based gift for you to be able to give to organizations and associations that involve children, because it's for them to go there and put like a strand of their hair, their fingerprints, their dental notes, a picture of the child, just like what the police department or fire department and things like that would do. It's pretty powerful. And so we have ladies that have contacted PTAs at schools and saying, hey, listen, we'd like to do a brief introduction to the mothers or the fathers in the PTA about how we improve lives with our services, and we have a small gift to give to all the parents. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The other thing that we have that I didn't talk about yesterday is our Ladies of Justice Wheel Workshop. And our Ladies of Justice Wheel Workshop is like, I don't know, maybe 9 PowerPoint slides. And these 9 PowerPoint slides are pretty phenomenal. I use this, I tried it out. I try out everything before I put it out in the field. And so what we did is we had a wheel workshop. The ladies came, we had members and we had prospective members, okay, which is our guest. And with that being said, I put up the PowerPoint, and it started with just a simple fact of we only have 44% of our families in our communities that have their affairs in order, okay? Then it goes directly into a slide that talks about the perception as to why we don't have these things in order. And it was because of what? It's too expensive. I don't think I have anything. I've already said where I want my kids to go, right? All those general things. And the last one says because, of course, it's very complicated. And I immediately say, well, I'm going to actually take away the complication and the financial perception that you have today. Everybody right now, get out your phone. I'm asking you all to do it right now. Everybody get out the phone. And Don, let me tell you what happened. This is amazing. I should have shared this with you before. I told everybody get out the phone, associates and guests. And we had members that were not associates. They were also just members. And I said, right now, hit step 1, which is, of course, what? On our app is... So where do you go to actually do your will? And so there's a visual on the slide that shows the app on the will PowerPoint. And also there is a visual to the will questionnaire. And I said, for those of you that actually are just friends of our community and you don't have full access to your app, raise your hand. I'm going to give you a paper. Yes, wherever Justin went, paper will questionnaire. And so they initially, because everybody in our Ladies of Justice events have their apps, okay? And so the ones that actually could utilize the apps, meaning associates and members in our community, I walked them through 7 steps. The ones that were friends of our community, that were guests that were there, I walked them through the same 7 steps on the will worksheet. At the end of it, I said, now, to our friends in the community, okay, you now have the first steps of almost completing your estate process. For those of you that already are members in our community, are associates in our community, push send. Huge. Wait a second. What I realized is most of the associates in the room, number 1, didn't know how to do it. Number 2, hadn't done their will either, Alistair. So I got the associates and the members in the room to do their will in 12 minutes. And the guests, the friends of our community that had completed the will questionnaire, I said, when you're ready to join our community as a member, you let us know so we can immediately get that to the law firm. We had 2 ladies say immediately, well, I'm already finished it. How do I get it to them? Right? It's a very short PowerPoint, but it worked that quick. But it's the environment that we create. I listened to a training the other day on a motivational channel on Sirius Radio, and the lady said, or the gentleman rather, that was speaking at that time, he said, culture itself, culture will eat even the best of strategies. And we've created a culture within Ladies of Justice and what we're doing that's actually making us successful. I thought that was a pretty good idea. I'm going to pat myself on the back one for that one. Anyway. I think it's great. If we're getting associates and members to use the service and we're getting guests to actually go through a process that's that much closer for them to use the service, I think it's a win-win situation. Prospect by Legal Shield, of course, we don't have campaigns in there, but we do have resources. So make sure you go to your prospect and do that, as well as get your share link for Ladies of Justice by going to share.legalshield.com. And of course, we have apparel, business cards, etc. I don't need to cover this. Ms. Ingrid did a great job of covering how we actually stay connected to our Ladies of Justice throughout the country. But this is where I want to go right now for the next 15, 16 minutes. Going back to when we developed Ladies of Justice and why I was so excited about some of my teachings being able to finally get implemented into a process, is we all have certain struggles in our business. Yes or yes? Some of us just feel stuck, like you've been like a director forever. How many of you feel like that? Or you just been, I don't know, a manager forever, wherever level you're at. How many of you actually really feel like you've been stuck or you're struggling with something? Okay, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Write it down right now. Why do you think you're stuck? What are you struggling on? Just write it down real quick. I'm going to tell you my story about me being stuck. I went to a lot of trainings and got some great information. And I always tried to be that person. I always tried to do exactly what I was taught. The exact way, sometimes the exact mannerisms, right? Sometimes this is the exact jokes, right? Here's what I figured out though. It wasn't working for me. Where I was stuck, what my struggle was, is I wasn't comfortable in my own skin doing what I needed to do. I felt like I was forcing myself to be somebody I wasn't. I felt like I was forcing myself, right, to say things and do things that normally wouldn't come out of my mouth, not my language. That's why sometimes we want somebody else's scripts. How many of you have said to somebody, me included, hey, can I just have your script? If I just had your script, I'd be having success. I'm here to tell you, no, you wouldn't. Because we all have a ton of scripts, don't we? We have access to all the resources of scripts by all the leaders in this company. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. You have to write your own scripts in your own language that comes out of your mouth the way that it's comfortable and natural. And that's why when we looked at Ladies of Justice, we had to build a process that we knew had to be flexible enough within the system to give people the feeling of, this is me. I can do this my way in this process. I sure hope you're getting this. This is really important. Somebody tell me what their struggle is. Be brave enough to tell me what their struggle is. Yes, ma'am. You don't feel prepared enough. Anybody else feel like that? Okay. We are in a sales company. I get that. However, I want you to understand something. I want you to kind of retrain your mind, okay? We're in a conversation company. Not presentations, not scripts, average conversations, okay? Because you're not afraid to have conversations with people without knowing 100% of what you're going to say. Let's say, for instance, have you ever ate at a good restaurant? Have you? Have you told people about it? Yes? Let me ask you a question. How did we do that? How did we promote it? We just, with the excitement, said, oh my gosh, you have to go to such and such restaurant, right? The food is fantastic. What I had was amazing. Do you think anyone would ever come back to you and say, well, what was in the recipe? Have you ever went back to the restaurant and said, listen, before I share with people exactly how great this food was, I need to know exactly 100% what's in the recipe? No, we didn't. Because we don't care if they go. We don't care if they go experience what we experience. But what we do feel good about is the fact that we're sharing good information with people, and we hope that they get a positive experience from it. But there's no pressure on us whether they do it or not. Does that make sense? That's the culture that we're building within Ladies of Justice. We have 3 levels of people that are at our events. We have people that are joined our community as friends that we just share information with. Whether we know 100% of it is irrelevant. We have our members of the community, and we have our promoters, which are our associates of the communities, our communities, and we treat them all the same because we know the more we share it with, the more positive their experiences are, the more they continue to come back, the more they continue to promote us. Eventually they'll become members, and once they become members and continue to promote us, eventually they'll become promoters and actually be associates. right? So don't take it personal when you don't feel like you know everything. None of us in this room, number one, know everything. And just when we figure it out, something called the gig economy comes along and scares the hell out of me. So it doesn't matter anyway, is what I'm trying to say, right? Don't beat yourself up. Don't stress, right? Just get out there and share good information with people. And guess what? It's okay if someone asks you the question to say, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but I know where to find the answer, and I'll get back with you. Because honesty, sincerity is going to get you so much further down the road than worrying about somebody else's scripts, somebody else's knowledge, right? Does that make sense? And when I get done, I want to come hug you because I feel your pain. Trust me, girl. Who else in here would like to talk about their struggle, where they're stuck? Yes, ma'am. Getting people to sign up. So one of the things also that we took was in one of my trainings is we should be actually, quote unquote, presenting for people to buy, not for us to sell. If you're not having a conversation in a way where people are saying yes with you as you're talking, if they're not engaged with you as you're talking, at the end of it, it's going to be a very awkward situation because you're actually going to have to say, do you want it? We need, and that's what we've developed in Ladies of Justice, the way to have it in conversation. And when we get done, actually the host itself says, hey, listen, we're excited. You've joined our community today. We already have made every one of them a part of our community by saying, you've joined our community today. Why? Because you're a friend and you've got some great information from us, and we hope you'll go promote us positively. If you want to actually also be a member in our community, we can help you today. That's the way we close. Right? Does that make sense? So whether they get it or not, we embrace them, right? We make them feel good, but guess what? It makes us feel good and takes the pressure off of us, right? You think that will help you? Absolutely. And there are some trainings that we've done, some of the solutions trainers we've done, where we talk about presenting for them to buy, not for us to sell. So you might want to look at some of those courses. They're really good, okay? Because it's important. One of the things we've also developed within Ladies of Justice is a culture of ensuring that it's more about the guest than it is about the guest speaker. Now, I'm going to say this respectfully. We have a powerful system that's been in place for 40-some years. We've created a lot of six-figure ring earners, a lot of millionaire club members with our process. And even while doing that, I want you to understand something. As much success as we have alienated a ton of people from our process over the years. It's time to have some flexibility in it. Should we be core to our business? Yes, we should be core to our business. If we can get to the weekly briefings, as Mr. Alistair Edwards said, do all you can do to get there? Yes. Go to the Super Saturdays, do all you can do to get there? Yes. Are there some people that just can't do that? Yes. Should they feel like they can't be successful because they can't? No. What we do is we take the system and make it flexible to fit into their calendar. And as they actually start having success, they can start rearranging their calendar to eventually fit our calendar to get to the other events. Right? Does that make sense? Should I tell the story about me rocking the baby, Michael? How many of you weren't here yesterday? Oh, quite a few of you weren't here yesterday. So it's okay if the ones that were here, it's okay if I tell a few of the same stories? So I did my first event. Now understand that it's not just about mommies and me, okay? We do have luncheons, which are designed, and it doesn't mean you have to have it at lunch, but that event itself is designed specifically just for women. But we have socials that are designed for women only, or women and children, or the entire family. It doesn't matter. That's how we've designed it, how we've set it up. But let me talk to you about a struggle, a couple of struggles. A struggle from a member side and a struggle from an associate side, okay? Where they were stuck because of maybe our system. So one of them was, I actually did a luncheon with women in Little Rock, Arkansas, my first Ladies of Justice event. The next one was a social, okay? This is where kids were able to come with their mothers. That's how we designed that particular event. And so When the lady walked in for the first time with a carrier with a 3-month-old to the first event, my heart about started racing because I'm not used to having children at our events. What happens at the front desk when someone shows up with a kid? You say, you can't come, I'm sorry, stop, no kids. So I didn't know what to do, but of course I was like, Melissa, y'all wrote this process, you gotta embrace this process, right? You gotta get over your fear, because I did have a big fear of how this was gonna work. And anyway, we started the process, we got our food, we did our social cards, we got to know each other in the room, we did some testimonials, and just as I'm talking about the services, the baby starts crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I didn't know what to do. And I said, well, Melissa, what's the natural state? If you are with your children, your grandchildren, what is your natural state? Remember, being you, what is your natural state when a baby cries in your family? Pick them up. So as I'm talking, I walk over to the carrier, pick the baby up, and I'm rocking this baby to sleep while I present. And as I told the ladies yesterday, as I told the group yesterday, I said, listen, God didn't give me these hips just because, right? So, got to do something with those things. So, but I rock the baby to sleep as I'm presenting. I close out the meeting, put the baby back in the carrier. We go back to socializing, etc. But the young lady came up to me and she said, Miss Wilder, thank you so much for allowing me to come with my child. She said, right after I had the baby, I went to one of your briefings. And she said, unfortunately, they turned me away. They wouldn't let me bring my child in. And she said, and the child was brand new, right? As newborn, I didn't want to leave it with somebody else. I didn't know if I'd ever get to hear your information. And because of that, because you embraced me, I'm signing up for the services today. And I'm going to bring back friends just like me to your next event. Another struggle. How many of you actually have a hard time potentially getting guests to the weekly event? Because it's not fitting into these people's calendars, I'm sure. If you say to somebody in a good way, if you share with them in a good way, you say, hey, listen, Amy, I'd really like to share with you what I do. It's important for me to make sure everybody in my community, my family knows what I do. And listen, if I can be of value to you, I'd love to help you. If not, hey, at least you've got the information. But it's important for me to share it. And she says, okay. And I say, well, you have to come on Saturday. She says, oh, I can't do Saturday. My 3 girls, that was my only time with my 3 girls. Oh, well, you can forget your girls for one Saturday. She's probably not going to come, and I've probably just lost her. Right? You understand? Sometimes we try to force them, because understand, your prospects or your guests don't know what they don't know. And so with that being said, instead of me trying to force her, I need to figure out how to way to get her the information that fits her lifestyle, so that therefore, once she hears it, like I said, maybe she can start adjusting her calendar. And so a young lady had called me and she left me a message. She said, Melissa, I don't know if I should be calling you, but my upline told me to call you. I hope you'll call me back, but I'm thinking about quitting the business. So I don't know whose team she was on. I don't care whose team she's on. We're all on Harlan's team. And I called her back and I said, well, what's going on, honey? Why do you want to quit the business? She's a 28-year-old lady. She has 3 little kids. And she was trying to do everything to be core. She was trying to come to every weekly briefing. She was trying to come to every Super Saturday. And she was getting no results of getting guests with her. So if you have no results of getting guests with you, guess what starts happening? You're spending money, you're not making money. And her husband, who was working full time, didn't appreciate the fact when he got off work that he had to watch the 3 kids. And she couldn't afford the babysitter. And so she was giving up because she was tired of butting heads with him about what she was trying to do with this business. Because once again, he didn't know what he didn't know either, because he hadn't been to any of the briefings. Is that happening a lot out there? Yes. So I said to her, well, honey, tell me who you're inviting to the event. And she said, I'm inviting people like me. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. If you're having a hard time showing up, don't you think they're having a hard time showing up for the same exact reasons? And she said, yes. I said, well, what do you and your girlfriends like to do? And she listed a few things, and then she said, well, we go to Chuck E. Cheese. I said, well, stop right there. Just stop right there. I said, I want you to call your girlfriends, and I want you to tell the girlfriends, hey, listen, I started a new business. I know I've tried to invite you to come out. I know it's been challenging for you to come out, but it's really important for me to share with you what I do. I don't ever want you to come back to me and say, why didn't you tell me, right? I want to share it with you so that you know. And if you're interested, great. If not, hey, we will still be friends. So y'all go to Chuck E. Cheese. Let the kids start playing. You break out our flat sheet for socials, which is the agenda and the presentation sheet. And I said, if nothing else, just read it. Just read the entire thing, the flow, front and back. That's all you got to do, honey. You can do this. 5 friends showed up, 4 signed up. So you understand, sometimes people are stuck, us and your guests. Sometimes we have a struggle, us and your guests. We just have to think a different way. Does that make sense to you, all of you? Listen, this is not just a mommy and me club. I don't want you to think that. Out of our top 10 products, in our top 5 products is the legal plan and HBS. It's actually number 3. And the 5th one is our small business 10 plan. And our 8th one is the small business 50 plan. Why? Because at our events, at our luncheons, we have a lot of professional women that are coming out that network, and that's how we do business, right? So gentlemen, you're included too. Invite women to participate with us, right? Or actually work with some of the women maybe to have some socials where it actually can be either, the family inclusive or et cetera. But I'll leave you with this. I was watching TV yesterday in my room briefly, and there was a guy on the Steve Harvey show. Anyone watch the Steve Harvey show? And I just love his sarcasm. He's something else. And anyway, this was a young man who actually was an athlete in his younger years. And due to violence, due to actually being shot, he was paralyzed. And I don't know if any of you have seen this, but this guy actually paints with his mouth. Have you seen that? And what they said yesterday is and I had to write this down. Steve said, how are you doing this? He says, well, what I was doing wasn't working. Because he actually could use his hands some, but his trimmers wouldn't let him paint right. Does that make sense? He said, so what I was doing wasn't working. I had to find a different way. I had to find my way. And that's what I'm saying to you that we need to do. We need to actually, right within the system, have our own voice and do it our way. So family, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.